This is Let's Talk About Confidence, guest episode. Charlie, from competing against others to competing against yourself. I'm John M. Walsh, and this is Let's Talk About Confidence. Today's guest is someone who had to rebuild her confidence more than once. Charlie lost football, the thing that defined her, through injury. She tried boxing. She spent years stuck in what we've called in this show the boring middle bit, not moving forward, not going back, just static. And somewhere in that process, she discovered something that changed everything. The difference between competing against others and competing against herself. She's now a PT and a gym manager, but today's conversation is about fitness. It's about what happens when you lose the thing that gave you purpose and how you find a new one. So Charlie, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, John. Thank you for having me.
Take me back to football. So what did it mean to you, not just as a sport, but what role did it play in who you were?
I think football was who I was growing up. I started really young, so teenage years was my whole mind, my whole brain from around 7 probably was football, playing football in the garden, then playing kind of primary school football, and then building into kind of playing that sort of semi-professional. And I was successful, like I was good, and that's where my confidence was. I enjoyed it. It was my whole personality. It was my whole identity. Going through school, it was kind of what I was known for. It was like, that's Charlie. She just plays for Cholton, county football. Cholton as well was a team I supported. So like, how many kids want to say they play for the team that they support? And I was very, very fortunate, and it consumed me, and it was everything I loved. It was everything I enjoyed, and it was where I kind of had that escape where I could express myself, and that was my confident little bubble, and I loved it. It was I did enjoy it.
Could tell just by the way you're saying it. It sounds like it was
good.
And you sort of hinted in there that the confidence that gave you, that's where a lot of your confidence seemed to be coming from.
Yeah, 100%. Like school was easier because like I had something to talk about, or like football is kind of, as a sport growing up, most kids are playing football at school. So there was a topic of conversation. I could blend in with the boys. The like girls in PE was like, oh, like you was kind of like always top dog, as it were, like sport, any athletics, whatever it was. I was the first forward, first one in athletics, and it just gave me confidence because I was successful. I enjoyed it, and it was because I wouldn't say I am a confident person. That was what gave me confidence. But outside of that little bubble, I probably did lack confidence, but it was something I could kind of use as a foundation to stand on, and it served me well.
And then you lost it. What happened?
So I was playing kind of semi-professional. Nowadays you probably would look at it as professional, but you didn't get paid. It wasn't how it is developing now. It was still very early stages. I was holding down a full-time job. Football was in theory probably a part-time job, but just without the kind of return of pay. And I had one knee injury. Playing for counties, or playing for Kent, was out for a year, took a long time to build, not necessarily like confidence in myself, like I knew football was my thing. I just needed to build confidence to get back on the pitch, because obviously it was my first big injury. I hadn't actually suffered any injuries before. Took a year, got back into football, and I'd at this point had left Cholton because they couldn't fund surgery. They couldn't kind of keep you on the books if you weren't playing. It wasn't a case of they kind of help you rehabilitate, basically. So I went and joined Dartford Football Club. The plan was to sort of build from there and get back into high level football. And first game back was playing Millwall, and just freak incident, 20 minutes in, other knee, completely wiped out, it ruptured ACL, torn meniscus, and that was the end of the line. That was it. And maybe potentially if there was more kind of funding or more support, I may have managed to kind of get back. If I was a man,
Yeah.
I would have had private surgery, private care, physio. But as soon as things like that happen in women's football back then, you're pretty much on your own. And yeah, had the surgery for the intention was to get back into football, but those 2 injuries, whilst when I got those injuries, I had full-time work. That then had a knock-on effect. I had to stop work because I couldn't be a personal trainer and not able to walk around and coach. And then I realised that I kind of was forced to make the decision that I couldn't continue because I couldn't survive, couldn't live, couldn't earn money every time I was getting injured. So yeah, I didn't give up straight away. It wasn't kind of injury happened, gave up, had the surgery 2 years later because of COVID,
Yeah.
NHS, it was all a bit slower. Few months down the line, it almost became too much, and it slowly become like a fear and an anxiety of like, I'm not going to get back on the pitch. So it was just kind of cold turkey, cut loose, give the idea up. And that was really hard. That was probably still today the hardest decision I've had to make. And I don't think I came to terms with it for a few years, probably until last year.
Yeah.
Was when I finally came to terms with it for good reason.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
For good reason. I played, because I think you'll remember I played for a Sunday league team last year.
Yeah, I remember you doing
and it was really interesting because I was so excited at first, jumped back into football. I felt I got confidence back through other avenues of training, felt fit enough, felt strong enough, joined a Sunday league team, which is something I hadn't really had experience in. So I was quite fortunate that I always did play good level football. And I think I finally discovered that it wasn't necessarily the football I loved. It was the pressure. It was the being good at it. It was the success. It was the playing high level, playing for the club that I supported since I was a kid. And going back to football last season for just, I think it was about 7 games, almost allowed me to close the door.
Yeah.
And happily close the door this time and just be like, actually, what I enjoy is being successful in something, is the dopamine hit of doing well, learning new skills, whatever it may be. And I think the Sunday league football, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And I knew that professional wasn't an option probably anymore. And I, peacefully left it, and actually now have come to I did it, got the t-shirt, played county football, played high level, and I'll have that forever.
Yeah.
So it allowed me to move forward into other endeavours, I suppose.
Yeah. It's good. It's like almost like a full circle.
Yeah, it was.
You'd lost it. What did that feel like when you, in that middle bit where you were, you knew you couldn't go back to football before you discovered the Sunday league stuff? Physically, it must have been something. But what about mentally? How did that feel like you'd lost that?
Mentally, it was so hard because the career I'm in now was built from the football. Being a personal trainer, that just was a natural path from football.
Yeah.
So once I almost did lose that, all of a sudden, the reason I thought I had gone into personal training and coaching was off the back of football and that enjoyment. And when that was gone, I myself didn't have anything to drive my own training, my own fitness, my own exercise. And I kind of almost felt like I was living a lie whilst being a PT for so long. And mentally it was so challenging to try and tell people like you, John, who come to the gym and to live this lifestyle, eat well, train, when in reality, I was kind of the same. I yo-yoed back and forth. I would train for a bit, then I would stop. Like through that period, my weight was so up and down, and that was a mental challenge in itself. It was I almost had job fraud for so long because it was like, how can I tell these people to live this healthy lifestyle and I'm in theory not necessarily doing it myself consistently? And mentally I had nothing to fall back on, and recently I got diagnosed with ADHD, and I think the reason it never got picked up on as a child was because I had a focus, I had a drive, I had something keeping my brain busy. Football was what I fixated on, and it's what I worked on all the time. So then when that middle part, I had no purpose, I had no reason, I had no drive, or I thought I didn't, because I thought in my mind football was the drive, but in theory, and looking back at it now, it was just a feeling of being good at something. It was a feeling of being successful. So, but that, like you say, that boring middle bit took so long to figure out. I did not figure that out until probably a year ago. So you're looking at like a 7-8 year gap of just nothing. Just every year is the same. I worked in different gyms. I'd work up to management, be successful in that, and then there's other elements in between that where like other issues have occurred and confidence has been knocked, and it was just this little void. Like my 20s, that middle part of the 20s was, it just feels like I couldn't tell you one vital, really successful moment that probably happened in that. Maybe a couple of things, but nothing that I can be like, that was a real defining core memory moment. And I think that showed where my confidence was just wasn't there. Just didn't value myself or what I could bring anywhere to anything.
It's interesting. It's like the football gave you. So the football, it sounded like it gave you a lot from confidence to your focus. The ADHD is not noticed because you're focusing on it. But then the definition, who you were, etc. So that was you. So it's interesting, that middle bit where there's nothing that kind of stuck out for you. Confidence levels in that middle bit, where were they?
Low, probably. I mean, there was times where, because I think you spoke about it before, where I started different hobbies, and like I've done random things, John. Like I've done carp fishing, as I've told you before, boxing, and I become good at them. Like I put everything into it, and it's that like dopamine hit at the start of, oh my god, it's so exciting. I need to buy everything for this. I need to sign up to everything. I need to, and like splashing cash and just going so deep into things. I mean, like carp fishing, I'm very fortunate. I'm still sponsored by like top companies globally, and that's like something I built in like 2 years just because I was I mean, this was COVID as well, so I'm stuck indoors with nothing else to do. So my whole time is consumed watching YouTube videos, going fishing, because it was one of the only things that you could do in COVID, and I became really, really good at it. And but obviously as well, as much as that did help mentally, it was very relaxing, calm. It was extremely sedentary. So as I got spat out the other end of COVID, all of a sudden I'm back at work, I'm back in a gym, very like I was 13 stone, which is like, that was the heaviest I'd ever been. And as much as I did love the fishing, I enjoyed it, and I could have potentially like created a career out of it, and I still will go fishing from time to time. It's not something I do as religiously as I used to, but spat out the other end, confidence again was just completely knocked. I've gone back to work overweight, and it was just, had these little highs, but they didn't last. They didn't last. So,
and I think where we first met at the gym was you'd joined, and it was probably about 4 months later you went to the football, or maybe longer.
A little bit, maybe a little bit longer. Kind of joined the October 24. And then it was the end of the season, so probably then around, so maybe about 4 or 5 months. So probably, it would have been the end of, maybe? 25, end of the 25 season. So around June, July time.
I could see the I guess the change, that when there was a spark came back to you when you started doing the Sunday football. But then from that, you did go through that phase quite quick, I think, because you realised that the challenge wasn't as much as you'd expected.
I think it's definitely the challenge. It was so, because it was mental to me that all I had wanted for 7 years was to get a ball back at my feet and run around that pitch and score goals, and I had wanted that for so long, and then all of a sudden I had it back, but there was just something inside me that it didn't unlock, and it was so bizarre, because I was like, but this is all I've wanted. And then I think I did just start to realise that, okay, maybe it's not maybe it was never the football. Maybe it was, I don't know, the success I was achieving and everything that was coming to me from the football. Because then I thought, well, why did I enjoy fishing so much? Because it's a complete opposite of football. It's a complete opposite of boxing. It's
totally.
like, why did I enjoy it so much?
Yeah.
I think it was just the being good at something and having that confidence that you are good at something. Yeah. So yeah, I think that kind of sparked me to, I mean, I'd already started dabbling in some sports and running and Hyrox and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, very fixated on those things and wanting to become good at them. And running was something I was always told, don't even entertain it. Your knees are not designed to run. And I just took that on board and was like, okay, I won't run. I almost become victim to my own injuries. I was just I can't do those things, so I'm not going to do those things. And I'm a profession at making yourself fit and strong.
Yeah.
Ludicrous that I didn't think, well, I can actually solve this issue myself.
Yeah.
And I think I started to understand my own value of, no, you can do something about this. Stop moaning about your knees. Stop moaning about past experiences. Like, yes, those things have happened, but you're in charge of doing something about it.
True.
You do have the controls of your own life. And until I physically unable to move, I will keep doing it. That's what I enjoy. I love the dopamine hit of being successful in anything, something, tiddlywinks, whatever it is. I don't care. I will win.
I think there's definitely a conversation I remember we had where it was round a bit towards when you'd realised the football wasn't really giving you, and I think you just started to do the running.
Yeah.
And I remember it was something along the lines you'd said, like, I've always spent my time, it was almost like comparing myself against others in sport.
Yeah, a lot.
But with running and Hyrox, that you'd said, but suddenly I'm competing against me.
Yeah.
Tell me about that shift.
That shift was, I think, because I do still now compare myself to others, but I've changed that dynamic on how I compare myself to others. It used to be a case where I'd look at others and be like, oh God, I'd never do that, or I wish I could do that. And then you let that overwhelm you and you kind of then, you doubt yourself. But one of my favourite sayings is doubt is only dangerous if you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
And I kind of flipped it on its head and was like, okay, well, instead of looking at these people and thinking, oh, I wish I could do that, go and bloody do it. Why can't I do it?
Yeah.
So I then started to still compare, but look at their stories, look at their journeys. Okay, well, how did they get from A to B to C to D? How can I then do that as well?
Yeah.
And I think that was definitely where I started to change my mindset, and I just started doing it and stopped comparing running data. And because I did that when I first started running, it was more of a clarity thing. It was never to go anywhere. It was when I'd moved back home after a bad relationship and didn't have a job, didn't have any money, and it was just like, I just need to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And that was where it started. And I just put my running shoes on, put some music in my ears, and it was awful. It was horrific. But it's that, for me, that drive of, right, well, next time we'll go out and we'll go for longer. We'll add an extra kilometre on. Yeah. And that was not because someone else had done that. It was because I was wanting to beat me. Yeah. I wanted to get myself out of a very dark hole. And the clarity that running then gave me was, right, I'm unlocking that football kind of key again, but with something else. And that rolled into Hyrox and obviously like the people I've met at my now work. And that just don't compare against others. And that battle against me has unlocked so many barriers, so many walls. And I'm now doing things that I never thought possible, like the half marathon recently. I was always told.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yes, thank you, John.
And what was it, 1:39?
1:39,
Your first
58,
half marathon.
my first half marathon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which, I mean, if you would have told me I'd even run a half marathon yeah, if you told my surgeon who did my knee surgery that I was running a marathon, I don't think he'd be too best pleased, because he told me to avoid road running at all costs. And I'm glad I ignored his advice. So yeah, I'm just unlocking new things all the time that I shock myself. Like, I do surprise myself. And it's football. I knew I was good at it, and I never remember having to learn to play football, learn skills. It just did come naturally to me. Where everything I'm doing now, I'm having to learn, I'm having to challenge myself, I'm having to push myself. It's not natural. Running was never something I was naturally good at. And now it's exciting. It's definitely unlocked a new confidence, for sure.
I think what I find fascinating here, Charlie, is that, and the work we do, and we talk about confidence a lot, and it's like there wasn't this big hallelujah moment. It was like, I've got to get out of the house, put my shoes on.
That's it, yeah.
And
Bit of a Forrest Gump moment, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said, I hate it. It was awful.
Yeah.
And I think everybody, well, I'm not going to say that's terrible to say everybody, but there's a misconception, I think, where we think, I've got to be good at it before I can do it.
Oh, God, no.
Or if I go out and do it, I will be good at it. Whereas the reality is, when we try something for the first time, like running, it's shocking, aren't you?
Oh, it was awful. It was terrible. I look back on it now, and I'm very I'm proud of it. Like, I put a post up after my half marathon, and it's kind of this trend on TikTok. It's like day one or one day, and day one, that run, I think I just about managed 5K. I definitely stopped during. It wasn't a continuous 5K. I think my average pace, for those that are into their running, was 7:18 or something, and I guarantee my heart rate was probably 180. And then I've just then completed a half marathon. My average pace was 4:44. Average heart rate's like 173, and it's like I probably couldn't have done that for 100 meters a year and a half ago. So that, I wouldn't have believed you if you had have told me that's where I'd be that first run. Absolutely not.
It's like what you've done is the epitome of building confidence. It's the go and do a run, and then the next day you go, I'm going to do a kilometre more because I want to do a kilometre more.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the flip that's interesting. Imagine you were talking to folks out there that were saying they are comparing themselves to others, but you found this kind of, is it too big a word to say, salvation?
No, so it's...
You found it through competing with yourself as opposed to others.
Yeah, 100%. Because I would never say, never compare yourself to others. But usually if you're comparing yourself against someone, it's because you admire what they do. It's because you look at it and think, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I was running a 5K or whatever it is they're doing. So instead of seeing it as that negative, look at it and think, right, okay, well, if I wish I could do that, what can I do to do that? Instead of letting it kind of affect you in that negative sense of feeling like you can't, feeling that negativity of, oh, like I'm not capable. As soon as you tell yourself you're not capable, you're not going to do it. But if you look at it and think, that person's always going to have started somewhere as well. Like you said, like my first run to now, that first run was awful. And now people do probably only see the end, or not the end, it's nowhere near the end, it's me just scratching the surface, but people do see that part and they probably think, oh God, I'd love to do that. And I had comments of people being like, it's amazing what you've done. But it's like, but you can do that as well. You can go and run a half marathon, and you can do anything. If you put your mind to something, it's going to happen.
I think there's a diamond in there that you've just said, Charlie, and it's to do with, it's great to compare yourself against people you admire, but I'm trying to find the other bit, but it's bad to compare ourselves against people because we don't think we're good enough.
It's like very contradictory, isn't it? Because
I admire them, but then it leads you into the whole TikTok, the whole Instagram, Facebook, etc. And it's like,
it's there, isn't
if I'm comparing myself against people and it makes me feel bad, I'm doing it wrong, I guess, isn't I?
Yeah.
Because I should be comparing myself against the people I admire and inspire me as opposed to comparing myself. It's a really good, you said it in amongst that, and it was like, when you said it got me thinking about it. I mean, there's an old saying we used to say, and it's probably about somewhere, but it was like, if you want to fly with the eagles, don't mix with the turkeys, sort of thing, you know what I mean? And it's that,
Exactly
but it's so easy into when you're sitting there watching something on television, it's not quite got your attention, and you're doom scrolling, and you're watching all this success or nonsense or whatever it is, and you start to believe that because you're exposed to it so much.
Yeah, and we all are, aren't we now? There's social media is powerful and it can be a very, very useful tool.
Yeah.
We can use it to our advantage, but it's very easy to let it negatively affect you. I mean, you've got now, I mean, when I first started running around like football time just to keep fit, we didn't have Strava, I never went out with a Garmin on. I just went out, ran to the local shop and back. I don't have a clue how fast I was running or the distance I ran. I just did it to, I don't know, just keep fit, get out and whatever. And you didn't ever look at numbers and be like, oh God, so-and-so did it in this time last week. You didn't have that. So now it is so easy to compare, but it unlocks a competitive aspect in me that I think, oh, I want to do that. I can do that. And I'm surrounded by so many people at work now. When I first started, I just remember being in this room, we had a training session and I made an excuse to leave because it was awful. I couldn't keep up.
Right.
And it's the first time I'd kind of had that experience of not being the best at something in the room.
Wow.
And I could quite easily have just been like, this is not for me. And I did have that moment. I had that moment. I thought, I need to quit this job. I don't fit in. I can't keep up these people. I'd never heard of Hyrox. Running was not something I'd entertained in terms of like racing or whatnot. But then I very quickly was like, right, I need to keep up with these people. I need to be better. And that is something I never had in football. So that's like a new confidence and a new sort of thing I've unlocked as time's gone on. Actually, I've got to work for this because football, I didn't. I was good. I was good, John. Yeah. It was very natural to me. So, yeah.
That's interesting, mate. It takes you where you're good at something naturally, and then you have to do something that you're not good at, but you learn it. But to be fair, you're definitely resilient because go back to the carp fishing, the box, and all these things. You've done them till you were at a good standard, and then you went, "Oh, this isn't doing it for me."
No.
Whereas this seems to be doing the thing. Now, tell me about this. Just changing the subject a wee bit. You mentioned about seasonal disorder. What's that for? I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know much about it. I've got an idea about it, but so what happens? What's the story?
So pretty much once that daylight is limited through the kind of winter period, as soon as that hits, for me, my general mood drops, my motivation, my sort of, I don't know, just drive to do anything is very depleted. I just feel almost like tired and drained just 24/7. And it's something, again, I kind of played victim to, same as when I was having kind of like my knee injuries and things like that. And I did sort of allow it to be all consuming sometimes, and I did lean into it a little bit too much. And that's not just to say that you can just go, oh, just get over it, it's fine. It's something I had to learn, right? How can I move on from this? How can I kind of make that period easier? Because it's always going to be difficult, but how can I then make it more manageable? Because, and I would say, to be honest, I'm still figuring it out, not every day through sort of those kind of darker days in terms of actual daylight.
Yeah.
It's not like I've got it solved now. It's not like I've got the answer, but it becomes a lot more manageable. In the last 2 years, that's been a lot more noticeable. I can, especially the last winter just gone, that was probably because we're kind of coming out of it now. So I'm starting to get that sort of good vibe, good feeling again. The sun's creeping out again. And yeah, it's difficult, but I've started to manage it again. And I think that's because as well, I've got this sort of building this new confidence with a purpose. I feel like I've got purpose again. The last year I feel like I've got purpose, and I think consistency is probably the key to pushing through it. it's creating structure, kind of pushing through when you feel like you can't get out of bed instead of falling into it. And there are still days I do.
Yeah.
But okay, well, I've done this last week. I felt this last week, but I just got up and did it. I got out and done it. And having I've got a coach as well. She's brilliant, keeps me accountable, and that accountability helps as well.
Yeah.
I've got to train. I've got to stick with it. I've got these goals, and I need to honor those goals. And that has probably been what's helped me the most, especially through this last winter. And it's probably the best I've managed.
Yeah.
The kind of the SAD, I'd say, for sure.
And what I've heard there is, it's like you've got a whole bunch of stuff you do. It's not just one thing.
No.
So it's that sometimes saying to yourself, just do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes saying to yourself, I can't do it, and I'm accepting it.
Okay with that.
And
I struggle with that part the most.
Yeah.
I struggle with that part the most.
Having support, a good coach that helps you through it.
Yeah.
Knowledge, purpose, where you're Hyrox with running, with it's 'cause I think often with confidence we forget that it's not just one thing, is it?
No.
You've got to do stuff to build the confidence, but sometimes you need support in doing it. Sometimes I loved what you said about accountability as well.
Yes.
You took accountability.
I did.
It. She said, I'm going to do this, which I think is, and that's what it's about, Charlotte. It's about how do we get through these times when, and what's been interesting, okay, so football, super confident, then you lose football, the drop in confidence, then you get into COVID and we end up being carp and sponsored and you get confident in that, and then the world opens up again and you go, crikey, I'm heavier than I was and I've not been exercising, I'm meant to be a PT, so confidence goes down and it comes, and do you know what, I think that's everybody on the planet that goes, wow, I feel super, and then something comes along in life that challenges it and it dips and it moves. Just at the end of you were saying about, you kind of feel like you got it together. We call it the North Star.
Yes.
So it's like when you're navigating in the old days, you would always look for the North Star because that would tell you where you were on the planet. Because it's the only star that doesn't move. It's the one that's solid.
That's it.
And it's, what was it, you talked about not having that North Star. What changed? Was it a moment that made you change it, or was it gradually? Did you build it gradually? What was it that made you suddenly focus and realise your North Star?
Yeah, I love the North Star sort of narrative. I spent a good 2 years wandering around in the dark with my eyes shut, and I could not see that North Star. I would say the changing point for me. So I spent 2 years in a relationship that was not good. It kind of was off the back of, I was working in London. I was a manager of a Nuffield Health and was successful. I'm 23 at this point as well, so I'm young. I've got enough money that I'm looking at getting my own place, get my own mortgage on my own, which these days is hard to do anyway.
Really
at the age of 23 was
amazing.
And I'm this peak, and I've probably at that point that's when I'd kind of found that confidence after football. So before this was kind of when football had gone, and unfortunately just kind of went off the path a little bit. I met someone, wasn't great, kind of got, I don't like to use the word manipulated or whatever, but I was kind of twisted into leaving my job, the career I'd built, following their journey instead. So they were a professional in their sport, and one thing I do pride myself on is I'm a very, very giving person. I'm like caring, and I want the people around me to do well. And I lent into this almost too much and completely lost my identity. My own purpose became their purpose. And I think that I had that drive to help them because all I ever wanted was to be a professional in my sport, and I didn't have that anymore. So then I cared about this person and I wanted to push that and help them. That kind of got taken for granted. A couple of years went by. All the money I'd saved to get my own place, that was gone. It was invested into them. Taken away from home, moved miles away. And then all of a sudden I felt I was sort of trapped. I had no money. I was very much financially reliant on them because that's kind of how it's been made to be. And then it just got to a point where leaving and having nothing was better than staying in the end. And then the turning point, it was definitely on one of those early runs that I went on where I was getting out for clarity. I was back at my mum's. She had moved to Cambridge and home had always been Kent, so she had moved in the time I'd moved as well. So I didn't know the area, didn't have anyone around locally, didn't know anyone. Sleeping on the sofa bed in the dining room, no money, no job, literally at the lowest I've ever been, and had no purpose. There was nothing. Had no North Star. Had no, just nothing. Like genuinely nothing. It felt like I had nothing anyway. And then I just one day was on this run, and I just thought to myself, if I could have got up every day for 2 years to take this other person to work, to the gym, to train, prep all their food, do all these things day in, day out, repeatedly, like clockwork, for 2 years, why the bloody hell are you not doing it for yourself?
Yeah.
Why are you not getting up for yourself at 5 a.m. to go to the gym? Why are you not sitting on a Sunday evening meal prepping for yourself? Like, yes, okay, you lost football, but what's stopping you still driving for something like that? And that was, as much as that was a real low, that is something I'll almost be grateful for the lessons that I took so much from that. And I kind of almost developed this selfishness, but in a good way, of sort of like, just do you, just focus on you. And I did that for a good year. Got the job at the barn, best thing that ever happened to me. I got that 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks after I'd moved officially back home with my mum. And that created friendship groups, that created a new love for fitness. I found this crazy thing called Hyrox, thanks to Ellis, my friend at the barn, and running, and all of a sudden the world just opened up. And finally, for the first time in years, I felt like I had a path or a few paths that all of a sudden I could choose. I could pick them. I could put into building these roads myself, and I haven't stopped since. I'm full steam ahead.
We remember the first sessions with you at the gym, and you're such a different person from them.
I feel different.
There was definitely you could see there was a nice person there and someone that knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But you could see that they were a wee bit shy, lacking in confidence.
I didn't value myself at all then. I did not.
That never came through, but the shyness kind of came through.
Yeah.
But I think 3 weeks later it was almost like I think you might even have said to us, I felt a bit shy at the beginning, but I feel like I belong,
Yeah.
It was a quick where you realised that the people and your clients valued what you were telling them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because you were different after, I'd say, a month or something. Like you were like, poof, a different Charlie, which was really interesting.
I definitely had like job fraud to start. And then I think I've always had like because sometimes not that you fake confidence, but sometimes you can put on that front. Like I've been a PT for 11 years and I've done it for so long that you can almost, even on those bad days, you can still bring the energy, you can still put on that kind of that front, that face. And I always had that, but I think until I had my own coach, I, in that 11 years, had never valued what my job actually meant and what I could actually do in the position I was in. All of a sudden, I was like, God, this person's changed my life. I'm accountable, I'm training, I feel the fittest I've been since football, I'm healthy, and this person had hugely helped me. And then me and Lydia, my partner now, the amount of support she gives me and encouragement she gives me, and all of a sudden it was like, God, I have something to give. I do, and I can be these people that holding me accountable, supporting me. And I think when I realized how valuable I could be to the members and to the clients, I think that's when my mind switched from just standing coaching in a room with 6 people and just delivering a session to all of a sudden it's that I'm not just a coach here, like I am changing lives, which is nuts. Like to say, like I'm not a brain surgeon, but I'm still changing lives, and it's amazing to see, and it's an amazing feeling, and realizing that you are that valuable in these people's lives that walk through the door every day is a really good feeling. Really good.
What do you think your North Star is now? What's driving you forward now?
God, North Star now is, I think it's the constant of wanting to be better. Now I've done things that I never thought I could do. It's like, right, what could I do next? It's like the North Star is always the same. It's always, let's start this challenge and let's be good at it. But then it's like it does then slightly change a little bit every time. It's like, right, we'll do a Hyrox just to do it. Okay, right, we did that. Let's now go and do, then I did did it by myself. First one was a doubles. Right, let's do it on my own, see what we can do. Then it was like, okay, running, we're going to start that to help the Hyrox. And I was like, no, let's go all in. Let's see what we can do for a half marathon. And now it's just this never ending book this. But I don't think it's necessarily the events. It's the bit before the events. It's unlocking new things every time. It's a new challenge, a new battle, a new feeling. And it's just, I'm constantly unlocking new drives, as it were, or new, like, there's points where I hit the half marathon and I was like, pain cave, it's hurting. But then I unlock it. And that's unlocked forever then. I can take that into the next race. And next time I feel that, okay, we can do this. We've done it before. But if you always stop at that door and you don't unlock it, you're not getting through it. So, and I think that's what drives me, is the difficult, the not fun parts that then create the enjoyment, weirdly, for sure.
That's funny. It's the difficult parts that motivate you. If you could go back, talk to yourself, imagine those stuck years, where you were, like you described them so well. What would you say to yourself, you think, now, knowing what you know now? So imagine, like, think of the folks listening that might be in those stuck years. What would you say to you? What would you have said to you? What would you say to them?
I think always having a purpose, no matter what it is, it could be like the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be like complete a half marathon, do this, do that. It could just be the smallest thing. But having that purpose and feeling value in yourself, I think that's where I've discovered that sort of that confidence and the drive, and it's always been there. I've always had it, but without purpose, it's hard to bring that out. Like if you don't have a goal or a focus or something to sort of head towards, like having your North Star, if you don't have that North Star to head towards, you are just going to be wandering around in circles and you're just going to be stuck in the same spot or returning to the same spot every time. And I think it's, just finding what gives you that spark, what gives you that drive. And most of the time, you might have an idea of what it is, but going through that journey towards it, it might not actually be what you think it is, but you might discover something else. So, you're always going to...
So it's like doing something that then leads you to something else, but you might not know what that something else is until you start doing something. So that may be a bit opaque, I guess. It's like, you done fishing, which then led you to something else, which then led you to the barn, which then led you to back into running, back into football, and back into running, then the Hyrox came along, and I think that's probably the biggest thing with confidence, that you've just got to do something, innit? It's not like what I liked is you go, I'm going to run to the corner shop. Now we've been talking about running this because that's what you do. But for someone else that might just be walking to the corner shop. It might be going out. It might be having a conversation with somebody. It's doing something. Anything.
And I think
do something.
Doing something that is out of your comfort zone. Building confidence is always going to be, you're never going to build your confidence if you always do the things that are comfortable. So like if walking to the corner shop is your comfort point, and you only ever walk to the corner shop and home again, you're only ever going to be able to do that. But if you go beyond the corner shop,
Beyond it, yeah.
and home again, all of a sudden your comfort zone's bigger.
Yeah.
You do a 5K, push to like a 10K, half marathon, whatever it may be. You do a Hyrox with your friend who's really good.
Yeah.
Then you go and do your solo. You always got to be pushing to make that comfort zone bigger. And I think that's where confidence is built mostly.
It could be anything, you know, if I took it out the world of sports, not just stuff like, you know, whether it's cooking, whether it's like, you know,
anything.
You start off making something basic that you can do, and then you know, egg on toast.
Yeah.
And then you move to something a bit better, and then, you know, not coming in giving up, I'm going to do this magnificent meal.
No.
Starting at the bottom, like you, I'm not going to run a marathon, half marathon or whatever. I'm going to run to the corner shop and get me shin splints.
And that's
and
it.
get through them and all that. So what's next for you? Where's the North Star pointing now? This is the bit, having known you for a wee while, it's like, what are you up to next?
What am I up to next? I mean, the fun part is that changes so much. Like, we've spoke about running a lot today purely because I've just done my half marathon.
It was last weekend.
My ADHD brain is very fixated. That was what I've been enjoying. That's what I've loved. And now on the back of that, I've got a couple of Hyroxes coming up. So I've got one next weekend. That's a double pro.
Where's
with
that one?
Ellis. So that's in London Olympia. So again, out of my comfort zone. Done my first ever one with Ellis last year. Just about survived.
But this
then
one's a pro.
This one this year is more. I feel like I can slightly keep up with Ellis this time, rather than her kind of.
She is a machine.
Holding my hand around the course this time.
And the second one is that
Malaga, so that's a solo pro. I'm jet setting.
I can see why you like this.
I know.
Okay, you get back.
Comes with its perks.
And I do believe we've chatted. Is it a Friday that it happens?
Yes,
So you've got Saturday and Sunday in Malaga.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. No wonder you want to do it.
Can't go wrong there.
Is there any other doors that's opened up as a result of doing the half and doing the Hyrox? Is there a glint of a door opening where you've gone, oh, that looks interesting? Or has that not happened yet?
No, it has.
Oh dear.
It has.
Oh dear.
I know. It gets expensive as well, John.
Go on.
Definitely, one thing I have always liked the idea of is a half Ironman. That's something that does intrigue me. I swam as a kid as well.
Right.
I also cycled a little. That was one of my little endeavours at one point. So I trained for London to Brighton. Unfortunately, that was kind of middle of football going well. Had a small sit back on the sidelines with a broken ankle. That was 2 weeks before London to Brighton, so never ended up doing that. Then obviously now I've dipped my toe with the running.
Yeah.
So now we can piece it all together.
Yeah.
So potentially, it wouldn't be anytime soon, but potentially next year, I would entertain the idea of with a half Ironman.
I'm almost dreading myself for asking that question when you've come out with an Ironman, half Ironman.
Yeah.
It's mad. I think big thing about what strikes me about you, Charlie, is that, you know, I think the first thing was the shift from external, comparing yourself against others, to all of a sudden finding the joy in comparing yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
That internal stuff. And also helping you to find purpose after losing. I did, you know, the fact that you went the running and then you went, I'm going to do another kilometre. That's you competing against yourself, and can I do that?
Yeah.
And that is amazing, and it gets you out of those the stuck years and got you moving again. And I think for anybody listening who's lost that thing that defined them, or who's stuck in the middle without a clear direction, like Charlie wandered for those 2 years, not sure, in the dark, I think you said. Charlie, you're proof that the next chapter exists. You've just got to find your North Star. And I guess the way you found your North Star a couple of times is by doing something. Doing something.
Yeah.
Is it a walk? Is it a getting out? Is it a cooking something? Is it whatever your thing is? Doing it, not sitting pondering it or thinking about it or going back to bed. It's like doing something about it. And start competing against yourself. That's what you were doing instead of anyone else. Thank you for being so honest about all this and sharing so much with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's really, you know, I think the hope is, Charlie, that other folks sort of we all go through the similar thing, and to hear someone else tackling it in a different way helps. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So, Charlie, thank you so much.
No, thank you, John. I've enjoyed this.
I'm John M. Walsh. That's Let's Talk About Confidence with our special guest, Charlie. And we'll see you in the next episode.